Good morning, my dear.
Morning.
How are you?
Doing good. Just a little sleepy.
So you were, it's just you moving about, right? Not stuff anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and it's at my sister's now with Angela.
Okay. Nice.
Did you get a little upset that you lost your spot in line and you were going to lose your composure, but instead you took a big deep breath? That's what's happening. That's what's happening. Can you go to that?
Hmm.
It's a happy here. Yes, and the first minute is all you. I always say, and just in that practice of arriving, and before you even find the stillness, there's a transition there, and that's the listening and responding to what you're going to be looking for. The expression of how you're actually doing in this moment, and what may just kind of need some attention to work through. Shoulders, might be in the neck, might be in the back, might be far away from the heart, all the way in the fingers and toes. Just like a good friendship, just like a healthy relationship. It's the practice of listening and responding. Being open to the needs that present themselves, and then actually acknowledging, being supportive of those needs. The more we practice that kind of communication with ourselves, the more we become familiar with operating that way. Even if it may have been few and far between, maybe it may have been a very unfamiliar way of operating in the past. Maybe not having much exposure to the importance and the validity of listening and responding to one's needs every time you do practice. You're adding more association, you're strengthening, association with this practice, the importance of this, the increasing health of my relationship with myself. And then ultimately, the likelihood of increasing the health of the relationships I cultivate with others. So the act of arriving, the practice of presence. It's just finish. There is nothing anyone will ever have to offer you that is more valuable and more powerful. You'll be exposed to so much, you will learn so much, you will grow. But so much more when you practice presence and arriving before you take in whatever is there for you. Which means no matter where you're, there's always an opportunity And once again, to practice that beautiful, healthy relationship with ourselves. Notice the sound and the feel of the breath. Over time, it will literally feel like love. Notice the sound and feel of the breath you tune into when you are doing your inner work, whether it's active or whether it's subtle. You hear and feel the breath in those times. It's this expression of showing up for yourself. And so even understanding the grocery store, when you're waiting at a red light, tune into the sound and the feel of your breath once again. Just reminds you of love. I am loved. I do. And then anything we do for me, we do it with ourselves. We do it for ourselves. And we understand how absolutely valuable that is to everything else that we everything awaiting the rest of this day, everything awaiting the rest of the week, everything awaiting the rest of this year. All these containers, little pockets of time and space that allow us to play out, to act out what's important to us. Containers of time and space that allow us to express how we believe we should move about this earth. And then when we project, when we look ahead, no matter what the day is holding, the rest of the week may hold, the rest of the year may hold. We can see countless pockets, countless containers of time and space, countless opportunities for me to express, for me to contribute. And my most genuine place, a continually evolving, most genuine. Be and breathe with yourself now and observe. Observe the you that has arisen here. Observe the you that has been listening and that is called forth. To meet and to stand with the you that must carry on in the finite world, very essential. Notice the you that is awakened, that is arriving. The infinite you. And knows what it's like when they stand together. Notice a little more sense of wholeness, completeness in my presence. I'm absolutely aware of my finite self, but also now more aware of my infinite self. The presence of both. The integrated nature of both. As you breathe and observe yourself here, take the right hand and just let the palm turn towards the left palm. They are about the width of your body. So you're at your shoulders, right about there. It's the seat of your arc line. So if you're right, the way the energy flows on the right represents you're doing, you're going, you're projecting, which is absolutely essential. Be present with it there. The value of that. This is how I contribute. This is how I take what's in my heart and my head and I manifest. My arms and my hands, an extension of my heart. And in my amazing, complete system, the way the energy flows on the left side of me represents this receiving, this room to allow, this taking in, this moving from this softer place. This is absolutely essential as well. Let me see the value of this here. And how when I do, I can look beyond the very moment or the very condition that may be present. This flow of allowing allows me to not only receive, but also to be expansive. To be beyond what is obvious. And so I let my mind rest on this. As I allow my senses to help me really feel any sensations on my palms, in and around my palms. And I breathe here, observing me, practicing the presence of the whole me. Finite and infinite. Allow yourself to just be aware, to just receive any sensations in and around the palms and the space in between the palms. Practicing presence, practicing wholeness. Notice if there are any stronger sensations on one side versus the other. And now let them call. Let them call to each other. As the presence of both is essential. Let the left call to the right. The right call to the left. And just allow. Let the mind rest in the flow of the breath. Allow any sensations from left to right. Let them call. Allow them to answer. Allow them to pass through the space. Very aware of the feeling of the space between them. Allow them to continue to call one to the other until they find each other. Breathe and allow. Mind resting in the flow of the breath. Allowing this communication between the way the energy flows on your right and your left. Allow the palms to get closer and closer, so aware of the space that they pass through. So aware of the feeling of the fingertips as they find each other. And feel to the palms as they find each other. Living from this place of wholeness, present. In this presence, I present myself. I present myself fully aware of my finite and my infinite self. the relationship between the two. The essential integration of the two. And to this moment that has never existed before, to this moment I present myself like this. This is presence. I offer myself in this state to this moment. I give this gift to all of creation. The wholeness of me in this moment. And I vibrate like this, from this place of knowing, from this place of wholeness, from this place of intentionally presenting to myself. I vibrate because there's nothing left to do but to express my being. Om Namo Guru De Namo. Infinite wisdom within me and around me. Om Namo Guru De Namo. Om Namo Guru De Namo. Om Namo Guru De Namo. Adgre Namen, Jugadgre Namen, Satgre Namen, Sri Gurudeve Namen. Adgre Namen, Jugadgre Namen, Satgre Namen, Sri Gurudeve Namen. Adgre Namen, Jugadgre Namen, Satgre Namen, Sri Gurudeve Namen. Deep breath in, continue to engage with eyes of the brow. Lengthen the spine. Exhale as you soften the shoulders. Keep the tall spine. Inhale, suspend the breath, activate it. Draw the navel in enough. Exhale, release here. One more inhale, deep breath. Contain. Draw the roots. Navel in. And bring the chin in slightly towards the neck. Eyes of the breath. Exhale, release. Release the hands on. Just observing. Just really stepping into your life more presence of you in your life. More presence of you in everything that emanates from your life. All that you encounter, all that you engage with, all the points of contact and connection. More of you stepping into your life, more of you. Get spinal flex, inhale, chest forward, exhale, round. Eyes facing at the ground. Mind on sat now. The jaw soft, with the eye gaze. Like holding your brain's hand and walking it down and down. A lesser traveled path. It's the importance of eye exercises. We must support the very physical capacities that we have. Teaching, growing, strengthening the brain. Teaching, growing, strengthening the nervous system. Whole body. Inhale, tall spine, suspend the breath and engage the roots. Exhale, release here. Exhale. Take them out of there. Control light nerve stretch. You're going to be holding on to the toes. If you need to bend the knees to any degree to do that, you can use your two pointer and your middle finger holding on. What we want more than anything, wherever you're at with the legs, is that the length of the back, the spine stays straight. And the movement here is inhale, exhale, exhale. So wherever your feet are. So if you are touching the feet with the straight legs, same thing. You're just not looking to compromise, you want to keep the straight spine. But the more important thing is the strength, is the length of the spine. Exhale, 6, 1, 6, 5. Soften your shoulders, Stretching the toes towards the face to support it. And whatever degree the knees might be bent, see if you can extend that a little bit out as you continue. It's that sciatic nerve, it's that back of the leg here. And progressively, it generally gives us a little bit more leeway as we inhale here. Exhale, now go ahead and relax the whole of your body. Hang the head, relax the neck. If you need to take the neck side to side, go ahead and do so. And then just scoot yourself so your feet are at the top of your mat there, at the ends. So you've got lots of room. And since we've been adjusting our toes so that we flex them towards the face, and we flex those as best we can. We're going to reach forward, inhaling up here. Exhale back. Just set the arms back here for a moment so we can make sure the shoulder blades and shoulders are good. Lift through the chest. Relax the shoulder and shoulder blades. Breathe deeply here. Depending on how much of a stretch you need, you can walk your fingertips towards each other. These to get closer or farther apart. Lift through the chest as you breathe through your hands. One more. Notice what can soften. Let the thighs relax. And then bring the arms up. Inhale. So stretch towards the face. Exhale. So that's our part one. Inhale up. This time as we exhale, we're going to take it all the way back. Line right back with the arms up overhead. Take a moment here and just let your shoulders settle, like the backs of your arms be on the floor, and you can bend your elbows a little bit to make that happen, to let that be comfortable. Check in with yourself, continue to flex the toes towards the face. There's still some action there, while there's a softening in the upper body. And then we'll straighten the arms again, palms facing each other, and draw ourselves up as we inhale, sitting back up. Exhale, fingers towards the toes as the toes stretch towards the face. That's part one. We go inhale up. Exhale back. This time, keep the arms active, keep the fingers active. We're going to lift the legs up 90 degrees. This is our next inhale. And the toes stay actively flexed the whole time. We want to keep that stretch that we started with life nerve stretch. We're going to continue that here. So this is our inhale. And now we're going to bring the feet towards the fingers as fast as we can. Draw the feet down behind your head as best as you can. And then we inhale the legs back up. So our inhale. Come sitting back up. Exhale as the hands reach towards the toes. So when we put it all together, we have inhale, sitting up. Exhale, lie back. Inhale, legs up. Exhale, feet to hands. Inhale, sitting up. Exhale, hands to feet. Inhale, lay back. Exhale, feet to hands. Inhale. Exhale, hands to feet. Inhale. Exhale, feet to hands. And continue like this now. 4 parts, being sure that the exhale is where either hands come to feet or feet comes to hands. That's when we're closing the body most. And so that's when the exhale is. Ground your face, do the best you can with it. Pardon that we have an AC problem, terrible day for it. Deeply. Couple more, just like this. Stay with the breath. That's where the life force energy comes from. That's where the cool comes from as well. Great, and 2 more. And 1 more. Find yourself lying back. Arms back behind you. And soften the elbows once again. Let the whole body relax. Inhale and bring the arms back down to the sides of the body now. And we'll bend our knees so the feet are flat. And they're about hip width apart and just as close to your body as is comfortable for you. For our bridge pose or hip openers, and most importantly for our mid chakra openers, we're going to inhale, pressing into the hands and feet, lifting the hips up. Exhaling as we lower back down. Now mind that all of the toes are engaged, and notice if your knees try to open up and not stay parallel. You want to really ground into your toes even more, and both sides, so all the way from big toe, ball of the foot, to pinky and that side of the foot. Really press into those with the knees and thighs stay parallel. Deep breath to lift the hips up. And deep breath to lower the hips down. And if you feel a little overheated, use the Shatali breath while you're here. So you would kind of suck, as in slurping the air through the mouth on the inhale. On the exhale, you would close the mouth and breathe strong and deep through the nose. You're in a place where the air temperature is fine, then you can just use a standard breath. You see, bring that left foot in a little bit more. Yeah. Rest those toesies into the foot. Let them short-change, make the heel do all the work. I think the heels can come in a little closer to your body. Yeah. Right. And still use those fingers. No short-changing, fingers and toes have work to do. With the next few, whatever breath style you're using, deepen the breath. Let it be longer and deeper. Therefore, let the body express that with a longer and deeper stretch. You're feeling a little more presence at that top of the movement, that peak. Feeling it in the front of the hips, the tops of the thighs, and the lower back. And you're also feeling that increased time on the descent. All the while, fingers and toes actively engaged, supporting. There. This last one we're going to hold here. You'll continue breathing as you hold the hips up. You may want to even interlace your fingers and make a fist, and then walk the outside of the upper arms a little closer towards each other, and use all of that like a triangle base to help support you pressing into the floor. It helps you to open up a bit more. And you'll step your left foot a little closer in, just kind of scooch it in a little bit more. Lift your right leg up straight. Keep pressing in to with all toes, all of the toes. Point and flex that right foot that's extended. Circle the ankle. Good, good. Use your anchor to keep the hips up. Circle the ankle in the other direction. Keep the strength and the depth of your breath the same. If you're going to practice this later on, all of this can be done with a breath of fire as well. Go ahead and bring that right foot back down, a little closer to center, extend the left leg up. Point and flex the toes. Use your anchor to lift through the hips. Circle the ankle in one direction and other direction. Bring the left foot back down, use the anchor, press into the floor, open up through the hips and thighs even more. Breathe into the belly. All points of concentration, all points of energy collection, enlivened, awakened, flowing. Just as the blood flows through the whole body with every single heartbeat. Feel the prana flowing freely, no blockages. Inhale deeply, exhale, come on back down, and bring the knees into the chest. Relax the head and neck as you rock gently side to side. If you find you need to lift the head and place it back down, go ahead and do so. One hand on top of each knee, go ahead and separate the knees here to make these wide circles, these outward circles. Flowing freely means that the places where we tend to hold on to our experiences, they physically also must be able to move freely. Take those circles now in the opposite direction, inward circles. Always paying attention to if something just doesn't quite move smoothly. Support yourself accordingly. Awesome. Go ahead and bring the forehead up towards the knee. Really hug the knees in towards the chest. Begin breath of fire here, pumping the belly with the breath. Let that be through the nose. Suck, no, suck, no, suck, suck. Every chance that the mind is not busy and distracted, it's a perfect opportunity to insert the message, the timeless message, Satnam. I want to always exist in the truest version of myself. I want to speak this to myself every chance that I get. Inhale here, head up towards the knees even more. Draw the navel in, suspend the breath. Exhale, release. Right, then we'll rock back and forth. Come up and down the spine. Do this for about a half minute, as long as that's okay for you. Keep the chin really tucked in. Roll the shoulders forward as best you can. You can keep that space in between the shoulder blades as much as possible. If you want a blanket, a little bit of tailbone support, or the cushion, if you want to go up. Beautiful. Come on up to your seated pose. Make yourself comfortable there. Shoulders over the hips. Let the palms face upward here. And take this time to practice the presence. The intentional presenting of me into this moment. I do the things that help me to feel my wholeness, to be in my wholeness, to recognize my finite and infinite self. See the dance between them, the integrated nature, the finite and infinite. I experience that in my very self. And that's what I present into this moment, like a gift to all of creation. How can I best support this? How can I make sure this is the top of my rinse repeat list? Ways that I want to experience myself on a regular basis. And just create a space that is conducive for input. Just practice on and focus on what's actually happening, what actually is in any given moment. Not what I think or hope or assume, but what actually is. Tap into the flow of creation for that. Because creation is not based on thoughts and assumption. It's pure flow. And then when I get out of the cobweb, and I can actually focus on what is through the lens of creation. I can listen deeply. Because what I seek already exists. Because what I seek is already in me. What I seek is placed in me. In the spark of life in it. But I must do the work. And that removes this perception of disconnection. So that I can get there. Rest there. Well, move from that place more. Elbows at the sides of the body, palms facing upward, fingers soft. Drop into the tailbone with the lower back. It's not too curved, it's just a little soft in its straightness. Rounded mouth. The breath moves the belly. Continue. This is me engaging a cleansing breath to do the work of clearing my field, clearing my aura, so that I can start to create this space that is conducive for my inner work. Make sure that the mouth stays rounded the whole time. The cheeks have little to nothing to do with this. And it's that bellowing. There it is. It's the expansion and contraction of the belly that simply sends the air out, draws the air in, and the mouth is like the receptacle for that. To really feel that and get that. So that is at the core. What we're clearing here is not on a physical level. This is karmic reservoir. This is the way that life has settled into our very being, into our field. We must make sure that we're using all the faculties as best as possible, and the breath here is key. If you're focused on this bellowing motion, my belly expands and contracts, expands and contracts, and my mouth holds the space almost like a fixed tube. Then the arms express this, moving within the space of my auric field. On the inhale, the arms come up. My left palm is over my right. On the exhale, the arms come back down. I put it together with that rhythm. Movements are very intentional. On the way up and on the way back down. Preserve the integrity of the flow of the belly. The energy, the cleansing quality of the surrounding environment. The impact that it has on the surrounding field. Keep the spine tall. You can tuck the chin in slightly. This will help the upper shoulders, the upper back, be able to hold the tension that may build here. And understanding the importance of creating, cultivating space that's conducive for my inner work. I can't expect to just do my inner work anywhere. Do I have safe spaces? Do I have safe relationships? Do I have times in my day that really allow for this, that really support this? Where I can process without judgment, without fear of rejection. Just as I am blessed to have a safe place to sleep each night, I must cultivate the space that is right and supportive and conducive to my inner work. Beautiful, keep the breath going. Put it all together here. My understanding, my observation, my self-focus, my greater conviction about the importance of what supports me in my truth. My understanding of technologies that can help me to work through life as a multidimensional being. And most of all, my commitment to myself, that I love myself and I deserve this, and this is actually the most right thing for the whole world. My desire to provide this for myself. Refining here for the next minute. Inhale, stretch up, stretch, stretch, stretch. Suspend the breath, engage the root. As you hold the breath, circulate the upper body, spiral. Keep stretching. Exhale. 2 more times. Inhale, stretch up, lengthen the spine. Deep breath, suspend it, activate the root, and circulate, spiral. And that last one. So think the space that the fingers pass through. Palms resting, facing up on the left. Space around you thanks you. Thank the space in which you exist. Let the hands operate in this circular area here, right in front of the solar plexus. Strike the pinky side of the hands, palms face up, and then strike the pointer side of the hands. Let's see. Find your tall, relaxed spine. Find that space in the shoulders. Once again, using the navel. Every time the hands strike, belly contracts. Check, 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 check. Now close. Sounds like. And in the area of my generating, my producing, my activating. This whole space here. In this space, I activate my pinky side, Mercury, the energy of communication. My pointer side, and Jupiter, to go, do, produce. When I focus on what is present in my life right now, how am I communicating? My communications actually create. So what am I creating when I communicate? My creations absolutely communicate. So what am I building? And what is it communicating? We'll bring the eyes to the tip of the nose. It may take a minute for that to feel okay. None. Every time the navel contracts, it creates the sound of creation, H-A-R. Be sure that the tongue hits the heart out every time. Hut, 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 hut. Keep going with this all together with your understanding the importance of being able to focus on what actually is, not what I think, assume, or project, or what others think, assume, or project. And most importantly, what am I creating and what does it communicate? How do I communicate and what does it create? Refine it here with your understanding of the technology that you access to support your multi-dimensional self in this practice of focusing on what is. Continue just like this. Inhale here. Activate root. Exhale. Spine tall. Few more times. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Exhale. Notice what's already more present. Follow them. Follow that sensation of truth. That sensation of infinite you that is already more present. Always present. Just more able to be perceived by you now. From clearing the field. Focusing on what truly is through the lens of the flow of creation. I can already hear me, sense me, feel me more. I can already hear truth, sense truth, feel truth more. There is more truth in my existence. Sucks. No. there is more truth in my existence in this moment. Follow this. Follow the breath that helps you to stay in this knowing. Take the pointer and middle finger on each hand, extend it. Open the remaining fingers. On your left hand, bring those two fingers to one point at the center of your chest. On the right hand, let the two fingers be in line with the brow bone. Lift the chest, soften the shoulders and shoulder blades. Continue to follow the truth that exists more now. Follow the breath. The truth in this breath is silence. Follow it from the center of the chest to the throat, to the brow on the inhale. Follow it from the brow to the throat, to the chest on the exhale. Yeah, deep breath. Eyes are brown. Softly here, softly present here. Exhale. And navel, chin in, project through the brow, hold it down. Exhale. More and more, put it all together with your love, with your intention. Exhale. Hands something again. Maybe turn them to the place in front of the shoulders, the base of the outline. More present with my finite. More presence with my infinite, my allowing, my expansive, my timeless, my already holding truth. So let the right and the left energies, the finite and the infinite energies, let them call to each other as we would experience the face that the hands pass through on their way to reuniting. Grateful for this. Grateful for the energy within the space. Offer myself my truth into this moment. That I can give the gift to creation. This place of knowing, this place of gratitude. From this place of increasing love and amazement of myself as a gift from creation and a gift to creation. From this place, I vibrate the truth in this moment, the truth that exists in every moment. May I continue to invite it, experience it, merge it. You know your truth. May you experience your truth. May it embrace dance in your truth all days, and always. So no.
Waheguru, Waheguru.
Last minute is also all you.
How are you, my dear?
Doing very well now. I really needed that reconnection point. Things were just feeling a little bit drained energetically. And this morning was the perfect practice to address my disconnection and my presence. Yeah, like those were like the key words.
Mm-hmm.
And they were the focus of this whole practice. And it was just so perfectly timed.
Mm-hmm.
So noticing the difference too, just really noticing the difference this time from the pre-state to the post-state.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And there's a cumulative effect there too, you know, so that the more it is experienced, the more it's actually experienced.
Well, yeah, and I feel like in the past, a year ago, 6 months ago, it took longer to get reconnected. And now it's easier, right, to drop back in and to
Yep.
reestablish and to recharge. So I noticed that as well.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. That's the you will be kept up.
Mm. I wish I had done this yesterday.
Okay. Darn those little containers. That's all right. Some point we'll be regularly shifting them around, but coming from the right place. So we're on our way there.
Yeah.
How you doing? Are you ready to speak or not ready to speak?
You know, that was fantastic. I felt it took me when I took the time to arrive and we were warming up, and even through the prosperity meditation, that I did it for a good chunk of time, but I let it go out of mind because I started a new sauna, and then we just did it and I stuck it through. It was like my pituitary was being, I felt the pressure on the pituitary, the visuals were there, like the waves through, it's just like it's all becoming. It's like the infinite and the finite, except you can see through both. Like both worlds are existing at the same time. You're, like you said at the beginning of class, it's like taking one, like this flesh body is being held up by this infinite self. They're walking together, even though this flesh body, like Ben said, is kind of being dragged at this moment because it's so tired. You know, this infinite body is like, oh, we're going, you know. And with this air conditioning kicked on when it did, it was like angels were trooping. And I did, and for some reason, the fact that there wasn't air conditioning was like pumping me to go harder. And I was like, I'm uncomfortable, but this is so doable. And I was like, this is not me. This is not the me this is the new me.
Right. This is insert there. This is not old me that I was more familiar with. This is me who knows discomfort doesn't equal distress.
Yes,
And so I'm not absolutely triggered, flustered, and otherwise.
yeah. Yeah, and I just feel
100%.
such a sense of, you know, that feeling of like anything's possible. And the communication part, like, definitely, like, just all these things that, like, all these little connections that if I just wire them the right way, it just, so many good things can happen from them.
Yeah.
It's such a great energy.
You said it. You said it. Yeah, and that's the thing, actually, if you find that, that's a piece to work with in and of itself, utilizing and that's the core of the prosperity meditation, that's the one that's actually called prosperity meditation. When if you're either doing the 3-part or just that one alone, doing that for the warrior version, like your 22-minute version or so, or at least like an 11-minute version, with just that, just drop in that one thing. How am I communicating and what is it creating? And also, what am I building and what is it saying, right? What is it communicating? You can drop into that alone as a 40-day sadhana, and at least like that good 11-minute place. Tremendous, tremendous, tremendous.
Just the heart.
Just staying there long enough to actually receive the answers. I personally would do it as part of the 3-part, because again, it's just that clearing the field that's so, essential, because otherwise the mind is still, it's focusing on what is, but it's focusing on like my mama's stuff, the cat, dog, like anything, global crisis, legit stuff, but it's not my inner work stuff. And so I just find the combination, the way that Jaidev put them together is just stellar. Just that piece first, clearing the auric field, as in the 3-part way that we usually do. I find that that's just the best way to go about it. When you're at the actual Jupiter Mercury part, drop in that awareness of what I communicate creates. What am I creating from my communications? What I create also communicates, So what am I building from the way that I'm communicating? And this is verbal, nonverbal, all the ways in which we communicate. What am I building? What am I creating from that? Like just insert that when you get to that portion, and then go into your listening deeply. Do that for 40 days. I can literally guarantee it will change your life. I have no conflict. I have no conflict in saying that whatsoever. It's tremendous. It's tremendous. So, as folks who are really just salivating for juicy inner work, that's a tip. How are you doing?
That was really cool. That was intense. I don't know this part, very intense for me. It's interesting because I was thinking the last couple of days, when I'm mentoring people, I often talk about transitions being the most difficult part of life, of teaching, of a dance, of you name it. Transition is really hard. And I got to playing with that concept the last couple of days and realized, like, I don't even necessarily think it's a transition. I think it's a step deeper, and it's integration that's hard, because every transition innately has an integration. It's having to take something out and replace it, whether that's replacing with stillness or replacing something. And this very much felt like a transition of sort of having to wean out of some energy and integrate into more full, more flow, like, I don't know, like, it was cool too, at one point, during what planets did you say it was? It was
So
Neptune.
that Mercury and
Mercury.
Jupiter
And
are Pinky and Pointer.
Yeah, and during that point, I had like these visuals, which takes me back to, I remember when I was really young, at probably first grade, and my sister had just learned about cells. And she learned that cells are so tiny that you can't see them with the naked eye. And she came home and very excited and told me about them. And from that day forward, I've always been trying to just like see my cells with my own eyes, like my naked eyes. And I've taken, it's really cool when I have my eyes closed, because I feel like it takes me back to that, and I feel like, which is very playful, because it takes me back to like my childhood self, which was playful and curious and, you know, inquisitive. But also, like, our cells are real, and whether we can see each individual, it doesn't matter, because we can see the collection of them together, and we can see the motion of them. And so I had some slight visuals too, which was really playful and fun for me. So, yeah, that was great. I'm so glad.
Whoa. That's fantastic.
So in terms of the three stages, how do you define what those three stages were?
Sure. You have the app, right? And there is under videos, which as an SBG member, you should be able to see this one, I believe, full sampler thing. But let me know if it doesn't show up under like member content videos. It says brief brief 3-part prosperity meditation.
Okay.
And that's the 3 minutes of each, which is an excellent way to get into it. Like the whole thing is maybe like 13 minutes long. It's got, we open and close the chants, and then it goes into it. And in there, I also emphasize some of that about creating a space that's conducive for inner work, and then actually focusing on what is, and then listening deeply. It's a whole juicy body of work in and of itself. That's like the nugget form. And like, that's enough to go work with for like a friggin' year, at least. So, and then, there's deeper dives into all of that. Yeah, I'm actually creating a webinar type version of it, to do, online with one of our online gatherings. And yeah, so that there's something in between the brief and then the yeah.
You remember when we first started together and we would have, it was like 9 o'clock in the morning, and we would be doing it like, it was like the half an hour version of it.
Oh, with my group, with the Akashic
neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I was like, ow, 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 ow. Yeah.
And that was last summer.
And I was a newbie then. And I was like,
Such a trooper. Actually, a little bit of that's coming back because
I'm so excited.
it's our Akashic neighborhood. The group that we started when we first did this, prosperity meditation with Life Force Academy back in 22, I guess it was. But yeah, and then we loved it so much. 40 days turned into like 60, 80, whatever the heck it was. And then we were so hooked on being together, even when I was stepping away from it. I think I was telling you guys the story in my recent video. It was one of those callings where it was like, no, you need to now go work in this deeper way. And they were like, no, it's fine, we're keeping the group. So they kept it, and folks would still, it's not every day, but they'll lead classes sometimes, we share information on different classes. And then every so often I'll come through and we'll go, okay, who wants to do it? It's usually 9:30 in the morning around that time, because it's 6:30 for the Pacific folk, you know, because it's all over. And, but yeah, well,
I didn't realize you, I mean, that makes sense, if you're online, you can be anywhere extra.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. So look for that coming back soon. Maybe you can at least join in on like a weekend one or something.
Okay.
I liked too, like hearing over from the sound bath the other day and all this discussion about like we're a portal in ourselves. Like I found myself leading into that last night. I had some anxiety bubble up. It's like, what if? I started thinking about myself as a doorway, and it's like, you know, it's really weird to go and stand in a doorway. That's not how doorways are meant to work. And so maybe what we're popping up my lip is just like pass through, and wouldn't you know, it subsided, and I felt better, and I felt more connected. I felt like I was able. It was present enough that like I didn't need to mull on it. I just let it go through, and continuing that into this morning, into like, we don't have to. I mean, we can acknowledge that it's happened through the door, and now it's happened, and the other energies can now come through and go through their thing.
Yeah. Acknowledging is huge.
Yeah.
Acknowledging is huge. Yeah. It's all that resistance to acknowledging. That's where the suffering comes. It's like, no, it's not really. No.
And for me, I get caught in the judgment of acknowledging. Like I get really stuck in that I'm acknowledging this and I'm like picking it apart. What's that doing? Is that actually going to help me, or should I let it go, or should I support it in some other way? Like when my back was on fire, I was like really trying to just let it happen and say, oh my goodness, you need to build more strength there. Yeah, okay, we'll move on to that later.
We're also gonna say that this is not something I usually do, so it's okay if I'm not, I don't walk around like this, so it's okay that it makes sense that it's difficult for me right now. Yeah. Yay, thank you guys so much. Thank you for your beautiful shares as well. And thank you, it's a co-creation, you know, and to hear that like you got what you needed, that just shows it's that co-creation. Because as you all work on that, literally, it's like this is how it showed up, was the work that we did, bringing finite and infinite together, and then sitting in the experience of that, like you sitting in the experience of that is your gift to all of creation. And it's like, you know, like, thank you. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And it's so powerful when you think of it. It's not at all. Imagine if every kid spent the first 5 years of their lives you know, like learning that, being communicated with in that way. There goes a beautiful kid right behind you. Hi, Angela. Good morning. You can have your dad now. All right. Have a great day, my dear. Satnam.
Bye, man.